I posted 1,700 reels on Instagram. Some of them crashed and burned, some of them blew up, some made me thousands in commissions, and others made me genuinely want to delete the whole app altogether. But across all of them, I started to notice patterns, mistakes that I just kept on making, and wins that I could go on to replicate time and time again. And eventually, I figured out what actually works and what's just distracting noise. Now, along the way, I built up an audience of over 660,000 followers, made multiple six figures in commissions, and helped a ton of other people replicate those results. So it's not just fluke, and it's definitely not luck. So in this video, I'm going to break down what posting 1,700 reels really taught me, not just necessarily about the algorithm or reach in general, but how to actually grow faster, avoid all the usual time-wasting mistakes that you guys are bombarded with constantly these days, and start making a whole lot of money much quicker posting on social media the right way. So whether you're just starting out or you've been stuck at the same follower count for a while and never seem to be able to break through, this will save you a ton of time, a lot of stress, and help you make a lot more progress faster. So let's get into it. Number one, going viral is useless if you're not monetizing. So one of the biggest lessons that I learned after posting those 1,700 reels is that views don't always equal results. So when you're just starting out, it's normal to chase views. And honestly, it's not a bad place to start, right? Views are the easiest metric for you to measure. It's the quickest feedback for you to see. And it does indicate engagement, right? But here's the problem. Not all views are created equal. So I once posted a reel, and I'll show you here on my screen, of some penguins on an iceberg. Proper random, right? One of them got separated from the crowd and then eventually made it back. Yeah, pure entertainment, but it exploded. It got 8.3 million views. Now that probably got me some followers, yeah, for sure, but didn't particularly help me with my business goals or lead to any customers particularly. Why? Because it wasn't built around my brand, my offer, or what my audience, core audience, was interested in at the time, right? Anyone could have posted that. But then I got another reel here that got 24.8K views, right? So nowhere near a top performer if we were just looking at views, but it brought in a ton of buyers. It generated real revenue for my business. So yeah, what I'm trying to say here is track your views, sure, especially if you're just starting out, but understand this. Views mean nothing if the right people aren't watching. Now, if you're confident that your content speaks directly to your ideal audience and you're giving them a reason to act, don't stress about the numbers. Don't stress about going viral. It's better to have 1,000 views from buyers, your target audience, than 1 million or multiple millions from complete randoms. Number two, volume builds clarity, not just growth. When I started, I didn't know exactly what to say. What format to follow, what niche I just stick with, all sorts of different things. So all I did was focus on one thing, volume. I committed to posting 3 reels a day, every day, and I stuck to it. No skipping, no overthinking, just consistent output without fail. What that gave me wasn't just growth, it gave me clarity. Because the more that I posted, the more that I learned. I learned what actually made people stop and watch. What topics were sparking curiosity with people? What kinds of reels made people engage, comment, click, DM, whatever it is. But also volume does something that a lot of people don't actually talk about. It just makes you faster in general. So in the beginning, when you're first starting out, there is a ton to figure out, right? How to film, how to edit, how to use CapCut or your editing program of choice, how to upload properly, how to add the right caption, the hashtags, formatting, all of those different things. And yeah, it can feel massively daunting at first, but the more you do it, the quicker you get. So if you think you're posting enough, you're probably not. Post more. But not only will that clarity get to you faster, but it will also make you better. And the whole thing starts taking way less time to actually get posting. So I always tell people, aim to post 3 reels a day. Now that might seem like a lot at first, but it's how you build the muscle. And if you stick with it, you'll be shocked at how quickly you improve. Number 3, your platform priorities will shift. One of the biggest surprises after posting those 1,700 reels is how differently each platform was treating my content. So when I first started, TikTok gave me the fastest growth right out the gate. I grew to 80,000 followers in just my first couple of months. Now, Instagram and Facebook, absolute crickets. So even though I was posting the exact same content across the platforms, I was just repurposing, I stayed around 2,500 followers on Insta and Facebook for about the first 5 or 6 months. But then something shifted. Facebook and Instagram started absolutely exploding. Like there was one point where I was gaining 10,000 followers a day. And at the same time, TikTok became much harder to grow on because violations started popping up, stricter moderation in general, shadow bans. All of that started happening way more frequently as my account grew. I guess I was in the crosshairs. So here's the lesson. Your platform priorities will shift. TikTok will give you the fastest wins up front. It's what I teach even to this day. But Facebook and Instagram often become your strongest long-term assets. So do me a favor. Don't panic if your IG Reels are getting like 100 views and TikTok's getting way more. Just keep posting. The long game pays. And by the way, I go into all of this kind of stuff in way more detail inside of my free community, okay? So whether I notice something new that's going on that's working and I think you guys should know about it, or a shift in the platforms, I usually break it down there first, okay? So if you want to be part of that, the link's down below. Again, it's completely free. Number 4, clarity comes from modeling what works. One of the biggest traps that I see new creators fall into, and trust me, I made this mistake a lot, right? Is thinking that you need to be original from day one, okay? I've seen it all the time. You start overthinking, what should my message be in general? How do I stand out from the crowd? Where's my unique angle in the particular niche that I'm targeting? And don't get me wrong, those are valid questions, but they're not the first questions that you should be asking when you're starting out. In fact, they are the fastest way, like asking yourself those questions, to get stuck in analysis paralysis. I've seen this happen time and time again with my students, right? They're spending weeks or even months in some cases planning, brainstorming, researching, trying to carve out the perfect message or content style, and then they never post anything. Or worse, they finally post 1 or 2 reels, they get a couple of 100 views, or if that, and then they just give up with it and quit. And that's why I always say the easiest and fastest way to start is by modeling what's already working. Now, when I say that, I don't mean copying. I mean studying creators in your niche who are already getting great results. So go find them. Look at their best performing videos. What structure do those videos follow? What hook are they using at the beginning of their videos? How do they deliver the value or the message within those videos? Deconstruct it, reverse engineer it, then apply what you learned when you go and film your own content in your own voice with your own story, okay? Most people think they need to be completely original to succeed, but here's the truth. Your originality or your creativity is something that emerges over time. It's not where you start. You know, when you're a solo creator, so you don't have a massive budget or a huge team behind you, or indeed an established brand, your best strategy is speed and volume. And the fastest way to produce content with speed and volume is to model proven frameworks, not reinvent the wheel completely. Now, once you've been posting consistently for a few weeks or months, your voice will then start naturally to come through. Your opinions, your angles, your whole delivery, the way that you do stuff and come across on camera, it all gets shaped by actually doing, right? But trying to figure out your brand before you've posted anything is like trying to drive to a destination without even starting the car. So if you're just starting out, here's what I would tell you to do. First of all, find 3 to 5 creators in your niche. Study their most viral videos from the last, let's say, 30 to 60 days. Deconstruct what made them work. Then create your own versions, applying those insights that you learn. Okay? But most of all, most importantly, post quickly, often, imperfectly. That's the fastest way to grow, not just in numbers, but also you're going to get confidence, you're going to gain clarity, you're going to up your skills. Now, one more thing at this point that I want to clarify. You might look at my Instagram today and think, wait a second, he hasn't posted 1,700 reels. He's only got like 178 odd. Now that's because I've archived a ton of my older content because it isn't in line with my content strategy moving forward. That's the great flexibility with social media. You can archive any and all content that you want to that doesn't represent you anymore moving forward. Number 5, every reel should fall into one of 3 buckets. When I look back over my content, the most consistent strategy that worked every single time was this. Every reel that I posted fell into one of 3 buckets. The buckets being entertainment, value, or CTA. Now let me break down each one of these and show you examples of all 3, okay? So the first one's value, right? So these are reels where you're actually showing someone how to do something. So it's step-by-step tactical content. So for example, this one I think falls into that bucket quite nicely, right? And it's where I show people a method called launch jacking. So I just ran through the steps, how they would get started with this, the different websites they would go to, where to click, right? That's the first type of content. Second type of content is CTA content. Now, these are reels that still bring some value, of course, but the main focus is to drive an action. So you're pointing people to a link or a freebie, a program, or just telling them explicitly something to do next. So this example that I created here, where I was showing people that I made $4,575 in 7 days. And if they want to do the same or learn how to do the same, they can contact me. Straight to the point, and it did exactly what it needed to do, and it generated a ton of revenue. Now, the final bucket, or the type of content, is the entertainment content. Now, these are reels that don't have a strong call to action or particularly deep value, but if you can combine the two, then you're winning. But it makes people feel something. They're light, they're funny, they're engaging, and they bring people in. Now, here's one that I posted using the famous meme that's going around quite a lot it was going around a lot at the time, and it's come back a little bit now. I'm seeing a lot of reels with this included, with Michael Caine and the Batman guy, I can't remember his name, right? So it's nothing deep, but people enjoyed it, and it helped grow the audience by making the algorithm happy. See, when most people start out, they post only value or only entertainment. But when you mix all 3, it helps bring new people into your world, build trust with your audience, and turn the right people into buyers. So you don't need to overthink it, right? Just keep that distinct mix in mind, or those 3 buckets in mind. That's what I've done and continue to do to this day, and it works fantastically well. So yeah, after 1700 reels, those are the 5 lessons that I'd go back and teach myself if I was starting again. Not how to do fancy edits and loads of transitions, not how to chase the algorithm and try pleasing it all the time, but how to actually use short form content to attract the right people and start turning that attention into momentum. Now, I'm not saying that you need to go out and race as quickly as possible to having 1700 reels as well, but hopefully these lessons give you a shortcut so you can start faster and smarter than I ever did. So I appreciate you watching. I'll leave a few links down below if you want to go deeper, but that's it from me, and I'll catch you in the next one.